Picture this. Two guys talking about true crime,
Weird mysteries.
horror stories,
But the conversation is light.
and mostly funny.
and sometimes naughty.
This is
A
Scriptsalog.
Spotify exclusive.
I'm Gideon.
And I'm Glenn, and we're serving huge portions of horror and true crime twice a week.
We'll make sure your cravings are satisfied.
And you'll be begging for more.
Char.
Check us out.
This is Scriptsalog, available exclusively on Spotify.
If you like this episode, please rate the podcast 5 stars, 6 and take your dome. This podcast is a member of Bunk Collective.
Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTV Show Podcast, a wrestling podcast. Here we go. So, it's Friday. You know what that means. Welcome to your unfiltered Tagalog Wrestling Podcast. And this is the MTV Show Podcast, the wrestling podcast. Ayun. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Magandang gabi dito sa Pilipinas. I'm going to do this quick kasi medyo mahaba yung pag-uusapan natin about this new developments that we have for the past few days. First thing I want to give and I want to apologize for this, yung voice ko right now is from my earphones. I'm using a standard earphones kasi my mic got fucked up, my cable got fucked up. And I posted naman on my Twitter. So, hindi ko siya pwedeng i-cancel kasi very important tong development natin na sasagap natin about So, this podcast will be talk about the Halloween Havoc, of course. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the highlights of everything WWE, then NXT. Tapos, pag-uusapan din natin on the top of the hour, we're going to talk about the Disney Plus deal that we got yesterday. So before that, let me remind you, please follow us on all of the social media platforms of the MTA Show Pod at the MTA Show Pod. Don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel. Just search the MTA Show Podcast. Then, malapit na tayo magkaroon ng dito. Yung YouTube banner o kaya yung YouTube badge. Yan, malapit na tayo magkaroon. Yan na tayo magkakaroon ito. And mga pattern ko na din on our socials to. Then, you can donate and support the podcast on ganknow.com/themkshowpod. So that was $1 a month. You can donate as well via GCash. And ayun, for more podcast, visit thebunkph.com. You can support us on all of the socials, thebunkph. Okay, so do this. Pasensya na sa kasi I have to do this like usual. Nasira yung cable ng mic ko. Pinagtataranta to kasi yung podcast mic ko. I'm not going to let them borrow that shit again. Okay, let's get down to business. Let's start with the news that we got yesterday thanks to our friends from Disney Plus. Okay, so na-confirm ito na-announce sa Disney Plus app. Na-confirm ito ng Philstar, na-confirm din ng ibang wrestling podcast here in the Philippines. But we're going to confirm the development here too. So here's the news. Disney Plus American top, one of the top American streaming platforms in the Philippines announced that wait lang, hindi muna tayo magpupunta sa wrestling, okay? So, the WWE, di muna. Wait. But we're going to WWE again. So, let's get down to the top news first. So, Disney Plus will be launched here in the Philippines on November 17. Why we're talking about this? Here's the catch. Do you remember the WWE deal in Indonesia just a few months ago in January? Minention ko rin to dito sa show before that the Indonesia WWE Network will be ported to Disney Plus Hotstar in Indonesia. And now we're getting the same treatment here in Disney Plus. So here's the news. Disney Plus announced on their PRs, especially on the websites, everything that we're reading right now is announcing this. WWE Network will be migrated or integrated to Disney Plus sooner than November 17th. So that's the news. Ito, maraming magtatanong about that. But first, let me remind you of other countries who adapt this situation. So first, we got the Peacock thing. So everybody knows what happened on that Peacock bullshit situation. That was a mess. But we have to deal with that. Ayun, so we got Peacock in the US, India, via Sony Sports Network and Sony India, Sony Live. Canada, via Sportsnet. Then Middle East and North Africa by MBC or yung naman yung network nila doon. Basta MBC yun eh. Then Australia via Binge o kaya Fox. Then Indonesia via Disney Plus Hotstar. And now in the Philippines, we're getting our WWE Network soon as November 17 on Disney Plus. So, the pricing, by the way, before we continue, is 159 pesos a month for mobile with 100 or 1,150 pesos annually. With one device, you can use it one device. Bawal siya sa PC. Then 369 pesos per month for premium users. That's 2,950 pesos a year. So if we're please convert to pesos kasi laging nag-update yung pesos dito. Baka nga by end of the year, 60 pesos na yung $1 namin. No? So, please convert it for us. Nagbabago naman yung dollar to peso. So, yun, convert nyo na lang if you have a converter. Pero today is 59. Tama ba? 59. As far as I know, before we start this podcast, the dollar to peso is 59. Yeah. So, ito muna. We're going to talk about what's going to happen. Personally, I don't know yet. Okay? So, we don't know yet what's going to happen on the official situation. Di pa natin alam kung ano yung mangyayari. As far as today's recording, we don't know yet. But, ito may but tayo. We know that in Indonesia, they decided to shut down the official WWE network there. Peacock shut down their WWE network as well in favor of Peacock. India, they shut down the WWE network in favor of Sony Live. So, inad nila yon as add-on kasi they are airing all of the shows weekly and premium live events via Sony Sports Network. And so they decided to put it as a add-on to the Sony Sports and on Sony Live app for 299 rupees. Alam ko yung conversion kasi nakita ko yun. And in Indonesia, they have the WWE Network on Disney Plus Hotstar. So in the Philippines, most likely, dito na nag-expectate dito, So, we're basing on what's happening on Disney Plus sa ibang countries. So, most likely, we're going to adapt this too. So, di tayo nag-jump to the conclusion. We're just stating what's going to happen. So, November 17, hindi pa naman ito most likely yung day that we're going to get the WWE programming. Most likely, these days, magta-transition pa lang tayo. Okay? Then, we're not sure yet if we're going to get War Games on Disney Plus. Yan na, sinasabi ko. Hindi pa tayo sure. But let's say the WWE Network standalone feed will be shut down once this Disney Plus deal will be open. So once na mag-open itong Disney Plus deal natin with WWE, our WWE Network standalone will be shut down. Simple as that. Ayan. Kasi it's competition thing. So kung pag-uusapan natin pricing, mas panalo si Disney Plus. Kasi we are getting 200 or 369 pesos a month just for the premium live event. And then, magdadagdag pa tayo ng mga Disney Plus shows or yung content that we're getting on Disney Plus. Then, on the WWE Network standalone, that's, I think, 59 na yung peso namin dito for dollars. So, it's yung 999 still there. Converted, mga nasa 600 plus. So, that's a half, almost, of what you're paying on Disney Plus here once this thing or this deal commerce. So, ito, we're not going to jump to the conclusion yet. We don't have the confirmations. We don't have promotions on what we're going to get after of this launch. Pero for sure, we're going to sure na masha-shutdown din yung WWE Network natin within that period. We're not jumping to the conclusions. Yes, we're stating what's happening outside of our countries. And most likely, we're going to adapt it to. So, again, ulitin natin yung possible outcomes and that news that we got yesterday. Disney Plus Philippines will be migrated. Hindi, wait lang, mali yung pagkasabi ko. So, Disney Plus Hotstar, wala tayong Hotstar. Disney Plus announced on their PRs that our WWE Network will be migrated or integrated with Disney Plus Philippines sooner than November 17. That's the day of their launch. The pricing of these things are 159 pesos a month for mobile, one device, 369 pesos a month for premium 4 devices. We are joining United States, India, Canada, Middle East, and North Africa, India, sabi ko na, Indonesia, Australia in 2023, and here in the Philippines via Disney Plus. We're getting live events, the WWE Network archives, the weekly television shows 30 days after of its airing, and the current programs like Level Up, Main Event, The Bump, the pre-shows for every event, and the NXT specials. And all of the library, most likely, we're going to get that on Disney Plus Hotstar or Disney Plus. Lagi kong sinasabi yung Hotstar. Wala naman tayong Hotstar. Pero yeah, that's the news. Pero yun ang news natin. To clarify on the statement, we're getting peacocked. That's the simple conclusion right there. We're getting peacocked as soon as November 17, as soon as that day will come, we're getting peacocked. Okay? So, November 17, the day when Disney Plus launches here in the Philippines, we're going to give you more updates on that once the details will show up anytime soon. But we're going to give you more details that Disney Plus will be the new home of the WWE in the Philippines. And we are getting closer for that in the next few days. November 17 is still coming. Matagal pa naman yun. They are still teasing everything what we're going to get on Disney Plus. To recap on the statement, Disney Plus is the new home of the WWE in the Philippines. WWE Network in the Philippines. Sorry about that. And to cap on that statement, our WWE Network will be shut down once this Disney Plus thing will commerce anytime soon. Sa mga nagtatanong din about the Tagalog commentary, yes, we are getting the commentary too on Disney Plus once it's launched. Okay? So we're getting Tagalog commentary on the premium live events. And yun. Yan lang. So yeah, again, we recap on the statement that WWE Network here in the Philippines is moving to Disney Plus starting most likely November 17, 2022. Our standalone WWE Network is most likely will be shut down once the Disney Plus deal commerce here in the Philippines. So, dami na tayo sinabing details about that. We don't need to recap that. We're just recap it in case you guys missed it. So, for the last time, we're confirming the news that Disney Plus is the new home of the WWE in the Philippines. WWE Network. Kasi the TV deals is still there. The TV deals, as far as I know, is still on. So let us know your thoughts about that. We're going to give you more updates on our social media platforms once we are getting the details about that. We're going to give you more updates on social media and let us know what's your thoughts about the Disney Plus deal in the Philippines. We're going to take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about everything WWE, everything what happened at WWE. For now, let's check our bunkmates here on Bunk Collective.
Been wanting to learn about different careers? Or just need that nudge to pursue your passion projects? Here at Project Offbeat Careers Podcast, we talk to guests with unique careers outside the usual corporate shtick. Listen to historians, gamers, teachers, and cosplayers. See how they've succeeded and how you can apply their learnings to your workplace. Catch us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. And get ready to take the off-beaten path with us.
Hey everyone, this is Mo Twister, and you're listening to the Kingdom Podcast with the voice DJ Yuki.
That was the OG, Mo Twister, promoting this podcast. If you like Korean pop culture, or know someone who does, then get into it, and visit our Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages at the Kingdom Pod PH.
We're proud to tell you that this is one of the premier shows to go to for your weekly dose of K-pop. So drop everything and listen to the Kingdom Podcast. Available in all your podcast streaming platforms. Join us!
Ayun, welcome back to the show. So, yeah. Again, in case you missed the news, okay? So, we're going to repeat that once. So, what the hell? Ayan, ayos ko na yung earphones ko. So, yan. Ayan. So, the news again from yesterday is that Disney Plus is the new provider of our WWE Network in the Philippines sooner than November 17, 2022. We don't know the details yet, but we're going to update you on our socials and we're going to give more updates once the developments come sooner as possible. Okay? So, let's go on to our reviews on weekly shows, basically. So, let's start with Raw. So, Raw this week, we got a Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley brawl. There's no talk about that. So, yeah, that's basically a bonus that what we're getting last year. So, bonus na lang to. Kasi Saudi and Brock Lesnar is working Saudi shows, you know that. And that was it. Yun lang. Parang we're getting Brock Lesnar versus Bobby Lashley at Crown Jewel on November 6. So, that's we're getting through that. Aside from the main event, Logan Paul, Roman Reigns. Ayun. Tapos, ano pa ba? So, Seth Rollins got his first appearance as the United States champion. Then, he was confronted by Mustafa Ali. And, ayun, I'm glad to see Ali back on WWE TV. And, that was great. That was great, personally. That was great in my opinion. And, that's impressive. Okay. So it's nice to see Ali back in WWE TV. At the same time, we are telling you guys na it's gonna be good regardless of the outcome. We're getting the match as well. And it's gonna be good regardless on what we're going to get anytime soon. Okay? So then, medyo layo muna tayo on Raw. Let's go on to SmackDown. Max Dupree is dead and LA Knight is back. He defeated Mansoor in a match on the latest episode of SmackDown on the LA Knight gimmick. After of the match, he turned heel and he said na he doesn't need everyone for the cheers and he will do it on his own. So yeah, that's a heel turn. Kind of awkward. Medyo off lang yung heel turn sa akin. Kasi we are getting the ano eh. Nag-feud pa yung ano eh. Maximum male models tsaka si LA Knight. Then suddenly, nag-turn sila parehas. Most likely. Parehas sila nag-turn dito kasi MMM is a heels before, then now baby faces. So most likely we're going to get that direction. Then, so Roxanne Perez made her main roster debut on Monday Night Raw in Action versus Damage Control together with Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez. So we can say that Roxanne Perez is main roster ready. If you're going to ask me, I swear to God, watch her. Wag niyong hayaan na hindi niyo mapanood si Roxanne Perez. Kasi I swear to God, sobrang worth it ng kanyang ano. In the age of 20 or 21, di mo akalain na ganyang kagaling si Roxanne Perez. I swear to God, you should look your eyes on Roxanne Perez. I swear. Then, so, ano pa ba? So, Rey Mysterio won a Intercontinental Championship match. Before that, so Rey Mysterio wants to quit Monday Night Raw or WWE in general. He wants to quit because ayaw niyang patulan si Dominic Mysterio and he was pissed. And after of that, Triple H asked Rey to go on his room. So Triple H is technically back as a authority figure or a figure on TV. So bye-bye Adam Pearce. And we got the news earlier that before the show, Karrion Kross, the original participant, got so they are part in an accident. And after of that, Drew McIntyre attacked Karrion Kross and yun na yan, parang they write him off of the four-way. And then, parang they got the slot and they give it to Rey Mysterio. And Rey Mysterio won the number 1 contendership for the Intercontinental Championship. Parang mas malala pa yung nakuha mo kaysa sa anak mo. If you don't like Dominic, paano pa yung makukuha mong tukso pag nilabanan mo na si Gunther, di ba? Yun lang yung naging first impressions ko on that one. Parang ang labo, parang mas gusto mo pa ata match up ng 100 beses o 10 beses na malakas ni Gunther kaysa labanan mo yung sarili mong anak. Parang mas masakit pa yun kaysa doon, di ba? So, ayun, sa madaling sabi, they are saving up the feud most likely at the WrestleMania. That's for sure. Since Judgment Day, as their feuds now with OC and AJ Styles. Speaking of the OC, we are going to confirm that the current never openweight championship or champion Carl Anderson will not defend his title because of conflict doon sa Crown Jewel since they announced a 6-man tag for Crown Jewel. So, yep. Let's go to the story pa. So, Bray Wyatt is back. He's back with a new theme song. He's back with new persona. For sure, magiging split personality ito. And he broke kayfabe on his very first night back on Weekly TV. So, it's so nice to see Bray Wyatt back as soon as possible. I wish that the theme song will be dropped anytime soon. And I cannot wait to see Bray Wyatt do something on WWE TV. I cannot wait to see this outcome. Kung ano yung makukuha nating outcome for this approach nila ngayon na split personality na parang something na hindi pa natin na malalaman sa ngayon kasi binibuild pa lang nila yung gimmick ni Bray Wyatt. Then, let's continue with Monday night. So, we got the opposite side of the coin of that trade. So, if Rey Mysterio is now part of SmackDown, John Baron Corbin, then that's just Baron Corbin. So, Baron Corbin is back on Monday Night Raw as part of that trade mentioned by the Hall of Famer John Bradshaw Layfield. So, JBL announced on Raw, teasing up Rey Mysterio as well, that he is the opposite side of that trade for for Rey Mysterio. And ano yun, he defeated Dolph Ziggler in his comeback match. The gimmick is working at least. And ito na yung sinasabi ko na ito na yung reason para sana ma-push ulit si Corbin on the main event scene. And it's working naman, in my opinion. Corbin is big. Corbin is, former boxer then. JBL is a former football player too. A former world champion. He can help Baron Corbin on that. So, malaking bagay na there's JBL on his side. Okay? Then, let's go on to, last thing we got. So, Elias returned on Monday Night Raw. And Riddle interrupt to say to Elias that his title match is coming next, and he decided to help Riddle against Seth Rollins. And after of the match, Seth Rollins retains, of course. He stomped both Riddle and Elias. So that indicates that he will be the next challenger soon after of the Ali match. So after of that, kung mag-i-stamp siya kay Elias. Elias ba yun? Kay yun, Riddle. Si Riddle nga. So, Ali attacks Seth Rollins and ayun, lumayo na siya doon sa crowd to end the show. I cannot wait to see Seth Rollins and Ali in action. Man, I'm so excited. Sana Crown Jewel na next week. Ay, gago. Crown Jewel na nga pala next week. Yun ang coincidentally part. So, November 5, November 6 here is Crown Jewel, the last pay-per-view, most likely under WWE Network in the Philippines. Yeah. So, that's it for our main roster talk. Let's go to NXT. So, on NXT, so we got Roxanne Perez and Rhea Ripley. So, Rhea Ripley is back in action after a few months back. Kasi she was sidelined due to a heart implications. And now she's back and she defeated Roxanne Perez in a Pick Your Poison thanks to Cora Jade. So on the other side of the Pick Your Poison, Raquel Rodriguez attacked Cora Jade, and Cora Jade won by disqualification. That's fine since they're building up the match lang naman for Halloween Havoc. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Then, yun pa. So, we get Shinsuke Nakamura. So, Shinsuke Nakamura is back on WWE TV after months in Japan. You know what happened. So, Antonio Inoki passed away, and he's there for the funeral. Yeah. So, he's back on WWE. He defeated Stax in a match since ayun, si Tony D'Angelo wants to punish Stax. And so he wants to punish him for the mistakes that he did, and he won. And yeah, that's they're building up. So basically, parang he got the respect again. And yeah. So yun, let's continue. So Schism versus the OC. OC made their appearance in NXT 2 with Cameron Grimes in a 6-man tag. So this is amazing. This is fine. So kung nagtataka kayo, why we're getting a lot of that is because there's a Dynamite nakatapat. Kasi yung Wednesday Dynamite was used by MLB for their coverage of football. Football ba? Ayan na, hockey. Ayan, MHL ba o ano? Basta MLB. Tama. Baseball. Yan. Tama. The time slot was used by MLB. So that's why they got a Dynamite Tuesday. We're going to discuss that before our commercial. So, that's fine. Then, we get 2 matches who was made official for next week's NXT. It's gonna be Pretty Deadly versus Malik Blade and Edris Inoue for the tag titles, the men's tag titles. And then, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance versus Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. That's the women's tag team titles counterpart for next week's NXT tag titles Tuesday. And then finally, we got a Kevin Owens show. Basically, KO is dissing JD McDonough. And he roast both Braun Breaker and Ilya Dragunov into brawl. He ended the segment by saying, "Sean, I'm sorry. Hindi ko kaya tapusin to." And the 3 brawled, basically. And Ilya Dragunov is standing against his Halloween Havoc opponents. And here comes Austin Theory teasing up a cash in for his Money in the Bank. So last thoughts before we go to our AEW Dynamite thoughts. Short lang to. So si Theory, wala tayong choice. We have to deal with this. Kasi Roman Reigns is very protected. I doubt that he will beat Roman Reigns at some time. That's for sure. But to write off Theory with this briefcase, I hope they can capital this. Theory as champion is gonna be good regardless on that. And yeah, at least. Pero ang problema sa akin is this Money in the Bank downgrades the purpose of Money in the Bank. No. Kasi if Theory will cash in on Braun Breaker or whoever wins at Halloween Havoc, it's gonna be a major improvement of upgrade sa current purpose of the Money in the Bank. So, yeah. Yun lang. So, yun lang sa akin. So, let's go on to Dynamite. Let's recap everything what happened on Dynamite before we go to our predictions on our last half. Okay. So, the tag titles got retained. So, the Lucha Bros defeated Best Friends for the tag titles. Then, Tony Storm defeated Hikaru Shida for the interim Women's Championship. So, MJF, Rose, William Regal, and a fantastic wrestling promo of the year, worthy promo. I don't need to capitalize that promo, so we're going to take another commercial anytime moment. Then, so Chris Jericho defeated Dalton Castle in a ROH World Championship match. After of the match, they attacked someone in the stage and hindi ko napanood. The main event, so John Moxley defeated Hangman Adam Page by a referee stoppage Mox Mox knocked out Hangman out with the lariat, and the match is decided to be stopped. And ayun, kind of sad about the outcome of that main event, but I hope we can get that pretty much soon, regardless if there's a title or not. Then AEW after of that match released a statement that Adam Page is fine, but still he is on concussion protocol of AEW. So most likely we're going to get updates anytime soon. And that 8 minutes, gusto ko mag-props din sa AEW kasi they used that time properly to reveal the main event of Full Gear. So MJF officially cashed in his chip. Sinasabi niya na, I will earn it in my way. So parang nagiging twinner na siya o babyface twinner, something like that. I will earn my way to the top and I'm not going to shortcut. Then MJF gave his chip to William Regal. He said na I will not get or I will not cut or not shortcut this time, and I will challenge John Moxley AEW title at Full Gear. Full Gear is set for November, 1 week before War Games. And ayan. So that's what we're getting on Dynamite. Basically, that's a recap for what we're getting on Dynamite. Let's go to our NXT Halloween Havoc predictions. But for now, let's check our bunkmates here on Bunk Collective.
I loved you then, I love you now, and I will continue loving you until I can no longer.
You took a part of me until I had nothing left.
The old me had to die so the new me could be reborn.
I didn't deserve that pain. I deserve love, just not from her.
Today, I choose myself.
I wanted to tell you, but you weren't there.
These are the stories that I wish you heard. Streaming weekly episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts.
Get in, loser. We're going shopping.
I can't. I'm sick.
Weh, yung tataa.
Boo, you whore. Di-lockdown pa rin.
Huh? 2021 na.
So, anong gagawin natin?
Di, magstay na lang sa house at makinig sa Astrology, the podcast. With new episodes every Tuesday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts.
Hello, so welcome back to the podcast. Wait lang, I'm setting up my earphones kasi I took a piss. So yan, I'm back. Let's go to our predictions for NXT Halloween Havoc na mangyayari this Sunday on WWE Network and on Peacock in the US and the other countries who's holding WWE Network. So let's start with the host. So alam nyo, we don't need hosts. Lagi ko na ito sinasabi. We don't need hosts. The hosting is very unnecessary. So we got Shotzi and Quincy Elliott. So Elliott defeated Sion Quen to become the host of the Halloween Havoc co-host with Shotzi. So let's go on to the cards. So the cards here is follows. First thing is a Apollo Crews versus Grayson Waller in a spin the wheel, make the deal match. We don't know the stipulation yet, but we're going to reveal. Probably malalaman na lang natin to on the event itself. So personally, I want to see Apollo win, but at the same time, I don't want to see Grayson Waller loss. So most likely, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with Apollo here para lang mas babid pa yung dito sa NXT. But sana maganda yung makuha natin match. Kasi feeling ko na lang yan yung mga mas nakakatakot pa. Then, so we got Julius Creed versus Damon Kemp in an ambulance match. If Julius Creed loses, Brutus Creed must leave NXT. Wala siyang sense. Kasi bundle kasi yung Creed Brothers. Parang binili mo siya na bundle. So, kung aalisin mo sa bundle, wala na siyang sense. So, si Damon Kemp, wala namang mawawala sa kanya if he lost if he lost, wala namang mawawala sa kanya. Kaya parang masasabi ko it's a bundle na kailangan naka-bundle talaga. So, I think Julius Creed must win this ambulance match. And let's move on to Roxanne Perez versus Cora Jade in a spin the wheel, make the deal match. And we got the stipulation that's Weapons Wild match. Okay? So, Roxanne Perez needs the win para makakuha pa tayo ng isa pang match and they can settle it. And Roxanne can challenge for the women's title soon as later. Then, here's a ladder match for the North American Championship. The North American Championship was vacated by Solo Sikoa since the match was voided by Shawn Michaels. So, it's a ladder match. Carmelo Hayes versus Ora Mensa versus Wesley versus Von Wagner versus Nathan Fraser. Personally, gusto ko manalo si Wes. Pero most likely, we're going to get a Von Wagner win since they are putting Von Wagner and they're taking him seriously now. Ayun, so I think Von Wagner will win this match or si Wes. So, yun. Then, for our co-main event, possibly co-main event, it's Mandy Rose versus Alba Fire for the NXT Women's Championship. I don't think Alba will win the title anytime soon, so let's get real. Mandy Rose. And the main event, so Braun Breaker defending the NXT Championship against Ilya Dragunov and JD McDonough for the NXT Championship. So, let's make things simple. I want a Austin Theory cash in. Then Braun Breaker retains the title. Then Austin Theory wins the title away from him. It's big help kasi Theory is a main roster star now. And he can bring the titles vice versa. Pag nadala yun sa Raw, more interest to watch NXT. Simple as that. So, Braun Breaker will win. Then Theory cash in on the same night. So, yay. That's it for our Halloween Havoc predictions. You can watch it via WWE Network and on Peacock if you're from the US and the rest of the platforms. You can watch it via Saudi Sports Network on India. You can watch it via Super Sport in ano ba? You can watch it on Super Sport in South Africa, and the rest of the countries, PD Sport, most likely will air this pay-per-view as well. Ayan. So, speaking of pay-per-views, before we go, so let's talk about day one. So, the news that we got earlier this week is that WWE Day 1 will be pulled out of the official schedule for 2023. If that thing is now confirmed, WWE Day 1, if that thing is now cancelled, the next pay-per-view after a War Games is Royal Rumble on the end of the month in January. So, ito ay reported by WrestleNomics. Di pa siya nako-confirm on any platforms. So, masasabi ko lang is very understandable kasi maraming kasabay na events on MLB, football, NFL. Maraming sasabay. Pero wala namang sasabay na wrestling promotion. So, medyo siya sa akin. Medyo odd. But yeah, very unnecessary na pay-per-view. But I wish there's a pay-per-view or a show on December that we can call it a small premium live event na parang mas big pa doon. Sana magkaroon ng isang weekly na both brands, something na pwedeng magsama parehas or maybe double Tuesday, why not? We can that. Sana makakuha tayo ng ganun na pay-per-view this year. I swear. Na hindi pa na-official. So, most likely, if hindi na makukuha yun, we're going to get Survivor Series War Games as our last pay-per-view, then straight to the Royal Rumble on January. So, yeah, that's it for our podcast. Let's do our picks. So, Seth Rollins as our superstar of the week. The woman of the week is Roxanne Perez, and the match of the week that we choose is Axiom versus Dayton Fraser from NXT last week. So, yeah. Ayun, again, I apologize kasi na-fuck up yung microphone ko. It's very unfortunate to use a earphones about this big situation that I got, and I have to deal with this. Most likely, I'm going to buy a new cable just to make this thing work. And, yep. Most likely, bibili na naman ako ng cable. It's gonna be a new gastos na naman para sa akin. So, next week, don't worry, babalik naman yung mic ko. Most likely, pag nabili ko na yung cable ko. And, yeah, that's it for our podcast. So, follow the podcast on all the socials at the MTA Show Pod. Don't forget to support and follow us on YouTube, subscribe, plus press the bell on YouTube. Just search the MTA Show Pod. You can donate and support the podcast on ganknow.com/the MTA Show Pod. You can donate by GCash as well. And for more podcasts, visit thebunkph.com. You can support us by Bunk Collective on all the socials at the Bunk PH. The MTA Show Podcast is part of the Bunk Collective, and we're available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and the rest of the podcast platforms. Please rate the podcast 5 stars, 6 in Tokyo Dome. And all of the links related to the podcast is available on linktr.ee/the MTJ Show Pod, and on Twitter and Instagram at AGPinera on my personal socials. And also, please support our local scene on ganknow.com/Manila Wrestling Fed, and the MWF Noche Buena tickets is now available, and the event is now official for December 11 at the Peta Theater in Quezon City. If you buy tickets now, you can access to their tapings on November 13th. So, yeah. And of course, nga pala, by the way, before we end, please support our friends from Kayfabe Cafe. So, I appeared there a few days back. Nag-appear ako sa Kayfabe Cafe to talk about our beginnings and professional wrestling, and also our cravings and pancit canton with ketchup. So, yeah, please support our friends from Kayfabe Cafe. And, ayun, pag naka 100, kakain si Ant ng pancit canton at ipopost natin yon on all of the socials and here on the podcast platform. So, in behalf of DJ Yuki of the Kingdom Podcast and also my producer, this is the MT Show Podcast, a wrestling podcast in cooperation with Bong Collective. Thank you, and see you on the next episode where we're going to review Halloween Havoc Premium Live Event. Yeah, see you on the next one.